Welcome to Lentamania tutorial. My name is Anna Sachno. Today I will show you how to make this cute designer Christmas tree. It is 22 centimeters high. Its diameter is 10.5 centimeters. This Christmas tree will look great in children's room or any other room of your apartment. You may choose any color and accessories you like. You can find all of the required materials, like yarn and crochet hooks, except for beads and decorations, in Lentamania online store. We ship across Russia via Russian post and different freight forwarders. Please visit the store and choose what you like. For a start, we are going to make a slip knot. I'm placing a tail on my palm and making another loop on the left, using a working thread coming from the skin. Now pull the tail until it's about 50 centimeters long. We'll need that to bind off seamlessly. Once you've pulled the tail out, slip the hook under the right thread and draw the left thread. Now there is a loop on the hook, tighten it up a bit. And crochet this loop with a work thread. Here is our slip knot. We're going to make single crochets all along this slip knot. So insert the hook into the slip knot, draw the loop, then crochet 2 loops on the hook together. This element is called a single crochet. Slip the hook under both threads again, draw the 2 loops and crochet them together. Repeat. Repeat until you get 5 braids on top. But don't count the first stitch, it doesn't even look like a braid. Overall there should be 5 proper braids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And once they're ready, pull the long tail and make a tight circle. Now it looks like a semicircle, and we need to join the first and the last stitch of the row. And our tail will be helpful here. I'll loosen the last stitch a bit in order to bend off with no seam. We need to crochet 2 last loops together using the tail. Remove the working thread, crochet these 2 loops with the tail, and draw the tail to the front. Then insert the hook into the first stitch, draw the tail to the front. Turn the work around. This is the back of our circle, and here is the last stitch. Slip the hook under both loops of the stitch. Then hook up the tail and pull it to the back. Then just leave it alone and don't pay attention to it. We've used it to bend off and we won't need it during the next row. We'll use it when we need to join the beginning with the end of the second row. And for the second row we'll be using a working thread coming from the skin. Attention here, we use this tail to join the beginning with an end of row only. Don't use it for any other purpose. As soon as you've joined the first and last stitches, put it aside and don't use. Let's move on to the second row. We've made this stitch when we've joined the beginning and the end of the first row. There is now this check mark below. In fact, all of the stitches look like check marks. You may see the stitches on the right and left from a check mark. It's even called a check mark pattern. And to make it, you need to insert the hook right between right and left stitch. So it should go all the way through. From the back, a stitch also consists of two parts. So slip the hook between two stitches. If you don't insert right between the stitches but somewhere on the side, you won't get this kind of pattern. Put the tail aside and use the working thread. Take the working thread and make a chain stitch. Now look for the next stitch, next check mark. I have already crocheted this one. We need next. Slip the hook right through the center of the stitch. Draw the working thread to the front. Crochet 2 loops together. Look for the next check mark. Again, slip the hook in between, draw the thread and crochet 2 loops together. Go on like that. Once you've crocheted these loops about 4 times, your work will start to roll up a bit. Help it to roll up in the direction with your hand, in the right direction with your hand, and watch out for the front and the back. Keep on crocheting like that until you get to the last stitch. So there is one check mark left. Slip the hook through it and draw the loop. Now, as you remember, we need to use our tail. Find the tail and use it to crochet 2 last loops. Pull it out. After that, find the first braid or stitch of the row. Slip the hook under both loops. Get hold of the tail and draw it to the front. And then rotate the work a bit so that the back of the last stitch is right in front of you. Get hold of the front and back loop of the stitch. So if you rotate the work, you'll see that this is the back loop of the stitch. So draw the tail to the back, straighten the braid with your hands, and put the tail aside so that you don't get confused. Now insert the hook into the first check mark of the second row, and we are starting the third row. Draw the loop, make a chain stitch. Now we are going to double the second stitch of this row. That's what it means. Find the next check mark, insert the hook, draw the thread and crochet 2 loops together. Then insert the hook into the same stitch again, into the same check mark. Draw 2 loops and crochet them together. So you get 2 check marks out of 1. You've doubled the stitch and made 2 out of 1. The next stitch will be single. Insert the hook into the check mark, draw the thread and crochet 2 loops. And at this point we are done with this stitch. Let's move on to the next one. The next stitch will be doubled. Insert the hook, make a single crochet, insert the hook again, draw the loop and make a single crochet. That's a double stitch. So as you could guess, we are alternating the stitches. Every other stitch is doubled. One single and one double, one single and one double again, and so on. Like that. According to our pattern, the last stitch is doubled. And make it using the tail. So this is the last stitch. Now find the tail, crochet it using the tail. Pull the tail out, slip the hook under both loops of the first stitch of the row, pull the tail out to the front of your work, then rotate the work again to have the back of the last stitch right in front of your eyes. And draw the tail to the back and put it aside. Continue with the working thread. Insert the hook into the first check mark, draw the thread, and make a chain stitch. So it seems we're starting our 4th row. The 4th row will be made of single stitches. It means we'll be making a single crochet into each check mark. In this row we won't have double stitches. So we'll make the cone more elongated. Our tree will be leaner. If you understand this principle, you'll be able to make such trees of different shapes. The more increases you make while crocheting, the puffier your tree becomes. If you make most of rows without increases, your tree will be leaner. You can make it higher if you want. It will look more balanced and lean. I hope with this tutorial you'll be able to make various Christmas trees. You can experiment with design and make something really unique. We've reached the last stitch of the 4th row. Now crochet them using the tail. I won't explain in detail here because we are doing absolutely the same. Insert the hook the same order as we did previously. The principle is actually the same in every row. That's why I'm not dwelling upon joining the rows with the tail. If it's not completely clear for you, or if you can't work from memory, you can always go back and re-watch and do the band off, the joining step by step. After a while you'll remember everything and won't need this video. Then insert the hook into the first check mark again. Make a chain stitch as usual. And now let's begin the 5th row. In the 5th row we'll be making double stitches after every second stitch. It means my first 2 stitches are single, like that. So simply crochet one element into each stitch and double the 3rd stitch. Then like that, then 2 single stitches again, a single crochet into each check mark, like that, and then double the 3rd stitch. Keep on crocheting this row using the same principle. And join the rows as usual using the tail. And we're starting the 6th row. Here all stitches will be single. A single crochet into each check mark. And we're finishing the 6th row. Start the 7th row with a chain stitch. Here you'll need to make a double stitch after every 3rd single stitch. Start the row with a double stitch. Make 2 single crochets into the first check mark. Then make 3 single stitches. And the fourth one is double again. Insert the hook into the same stitch twice and make 2 single crochets. Then 3 single stitches again, and then 1 double. I think you've got the idea. Crochet the rest by the same principle. 3 single stitches, 1 double. If you have calculated everything correctly, you should end up with 3 single stitches. In this case, your Christmas tree will be all symmetrical and very pretty. And for the last stitch, use the tail as usual. So as you may see, our cone is gradually turning into the tree. And now it's up to us to decide whether it will be lean, puffy, tall or slim. I've decided to make the next 2 rows, 8th and 9th, with single stitches only. In this case, our tree will be more elongated. If you are an experienced crocheter, you can add complexity and ensure the stitches on the front are seamless, that the seam is on the back. So as you may see, the yarn has a seam on the back. So if you want your tree to be seamless, ensure the working thread on your finger is always face down. You always need to see the seam. In this case, when you pick up the thread and draw it, it will always come out showing the front. The seam will be hidden on the back. After that, you'll need to crochet 2 loops together. If you do that, your tree will look flawless. But before adding complexity and trying to hide the seam, you better practice the simpler version first. So don't bother with the position of the thread on your finger. So don't be distracted by this. I've made 8th and 9th row with single stitches, banded off with the tail as usual. Now let's start the 10th row. Draw the thread, make a chain stitch. In this row we are going to make a double stitch after every 4 single stitches. So first make 4 single stitches. After that, make 1 double stitch. 4 single again, and 1 double. And finish the row by the same principle. And while we're crocheting this row, I'd like to share some trick with you. Some people complain that holes between stitches are too big. This normally happens when you tighten up this loop, but loosen the loop on the hook. So, if you want to have pretty stitches and neat and tiny holes, you need to tighten this loop on the hook from time to time, and don't let it be too loose. But at the same time, don't tighten it too much. And then when you crochet it, pull it out and don't be afraid to make it too loose. Pull it up to the level of the loop that is already on the hook and crochet them together. It will lie nicely and loosely afterwards itself. And tighten up this loop on the hook a bit. Like that, you'll have minimal holes between stitches, and stitches themselves will be neat and loosened. If you have done everything correctly, your last stitch of the row should be double. And let's move on to the 11th row. It will consist of single stitches. In this row I've run out of tail, it ended, so if you have as well, then you can pull several centimeters of yarn from the other side of the skein, about 30 centimeters. Cut this piece and use it as a tail in the future. I'll show you how to use this piece of yarn in the 12th row. So in this row, 12ths will also consist of single stitches, because we want to elongate our Christmas tree a little bit. We're finishing this row, and I'm taking my piece of yarn instead of the tail it ended and using it to crochet 2 last loops. Now I need to pull the working thread a bit. Now we have both a short and a long tail. And pull the long tail out. And do the same as we did with the tail before. Don't pull it too much though, the short tail shouldn't jump out. Like that. In the end, we'll weave the short tail in on the back and just hide it. Now find the working thread again, and let's move on to the 13th row. In this row we'll be making double stitches again. They will repeat after every 5th single stitch. Let's double the first stitch of the row, like that, and make 5 single crochets. Then 1 double stitch. This row is ready and 13 rows are ready. I've joined the beginning with the end, and in the next row I've picked yarn of a different color. I'm cutting the working thread and cut the tail as well. It will be easier to weave it in later this way. Now let's take a different yarn of different color. In my case it's vanilla colored yarn. And insert the hook into the first stitch of the row, right in the middle of the check mark. Leave a tail, we'll need it to finish this row. The tail should be about 15 to 20 centimeters long. Then draw the loop, make a chain stitch, and make single crochets. So make 1 single crochet into each stitch. There won't be any double stitches here in this row. And bend off as usual using the tail. Pull out all of the tails and the working thread as well. So here is our Christmas tree. It's very stable. I'm pressing on it rather hard and it doesn't bend. The yarn holds the shape very well. And now we only need to decorate our tree. Place a star on the top and weave in these multiple tails. Also, we'll need to attach some accessories and a star. And we'll crochet our star. In my case, it will be vanilla colored against a dusty rose tree. But for demonstration purpose, I'll use the dusty rose color, because it will be visible better. Make the same slip knot as we did in the beginning. This time we won't need tail to join the rows, so you can leave it short. The tail can be short. So slip the hook right under the right thread of the slip knot, draw the loop and make a chain stitch. Then make 5 single crochets and you should get 5 braids on top. It's very important. If there are more braids, it won't be a 5-pointed star. Now 5 braids are ready. Tighten up the work and make a circle. And the star is almost ready. It's really very easy to make. Now we need to join the beginning with the end, but in a simpler manner than we did before. If we join the rows in the most simple and standard way, the seam will be invisible. And to do that, insert the hook into the first stitch of the row, draw the working thread through both loops. So we've just joined the rows. Here is our circle. Now make a chain stitch and then another chain stitch. And now we're making the first ray of our star. Slip the hook right under both loops of the next stitch. Draw the thread through these loops and then through the loop on your hook. This is a connecting loop. Then make 2 chain stitches again, another connecting loop, then go 1 stitch back and slip the hook under both loops of this stitch, draw the yarn through these loops and through the loop on the hook. We've just made the second ray of our star. And let's attach the second ray to the circle, to the base. Slip the hook under both loops of the next stitch and attach the second ray to the base, to the circle, with the help of the connecting stitch. I've already attached 4 rays to the circle in a similar way. There is 1 ray left and I'm also running out of yarn. And the last ray is ready. I'm attaching it to the circle. Here is the last spare stitch. Draw the working thread through it. Draw it through the loop on the hook. Make a standard connecting stitch. That's how it looks. Here is our tail. Now it's on the front. And we need to pull it to the back of the star with the hook. Like that. Well, I hope you have more yarn left than me and you'll be able to weave the tail in on the back. And you can place this cute star on the top of the tree. There are several ways to attach it. Well, first you can sew it using regular threads of similar color. This is one of the safest way. Or you can glue them together using some special textile adhesive, special glue. Or you may try to tie this star to the tree. So there are 2 threads growing out from the star, the beginning and the end of the yarn. And you may try to attach the star to the tree using these threads. So like that, that's how it looks. Stretch the threads coming from the star with your hand. It should be anchored securely on the top. And now tie these threads to one of the tails inside the tree. And then you need to hide all of the remaining tails. So our star is now very stable, as you may see. You can additionally glue it to the tree to be sure it sits really tightly. And you need to use a special needle to weave in the tails on the back. This is the needle, it's made of plastic. Insert the tail into the eye and weave it in. Weave it in on the back. That's how it looks. So do that several times. Lead the thread as far into the back as possible. And if you're afraid the thread will accidentally come out to the front, you may sew it with regular threads. Use matching color, of course. So in this case, you can be sure the thread never comes out. And do it with all of the tails inside. Or there is an alternative variant. If you don't have a special plastic needle, then take a thin crochet hook and slide it through the stitches on the back. Then get hold of the tail that you need to hide. Pull it out. And weave all the tails in like that, step by step. And now let's decorate our tree. I'll use beads and sparkles that I bought in Galamart. There in Fixed Price or other similar stores, you'll find many ideas how to decorate your tree. So try to find something in some handmade stores. They should also have some pretty beads. I'll be using a glue gun. Or you may try some other adhesive for textile. Some pretty buttons might also be a good idea for decoration. You can attach the ornaments, the decorations in any order you like, and choose any decorations in any colors that you want, that you like. Let's try to attach the sparkles. They already have the adhesive side, but I'm afraid they won't stick to the tree, and I'll glue them once again. Be very careful working with a glue gun, don't burn your fingers. Also, it looks cool when beads are of different size. So, here is our Christmas tree. I've used about 15 meters of Lenta knitting yarn, dusty rose color, and a little bit of vanilla colored yarn, also produced by Lenta, and decorations from Galamart. The tree is 22 centimeters high. Its diameter is 10.5 centimeters. It will be a great decoration for your apartment and in particular children's room.